Welcome to Fred Arbanas Golf Course. My name is Jeff Sidorsik, the head professional. Today we are going to work on bringing your game from the lesson tee to the golf course. And here to help me out is Mike Norman, our PGA professional, and Chris Piedemonte, our PGA professional. From here we will be going to number 12 tee to work on our tee ball. As we stand on 12 tee box, we take a look down the fairway and see what our options might be. Right now you're looking at, we have a bunker about 250 off the tee on the right side of the fairway. We have trees lined down the left side. Of course we don't want to hit it in there, that'd be lost ball. So what we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to hit the ball into the wider part of the fairway with the less trouble, so we save ourselves some penalty strokes. Next thing that we need to consider as we're on the tee box is, are we a slicer or are we a drawer of the golf ball? That is very important because that'll help you line up on the right side of the tee box. If you're a slicer of the golf ball, Chris is going to demonstrate to line up on the right side of the tee box, and the reason why we do that is because it brings the wider part of the fairway into play.
Okay, this next segment is going to help you determine what adjustments you need to make off of uneven lies. This situation Jeff's going to demonstrate for us is an upslope. So we want to position the ball a little bit closer to the highest foot. We're going to use more club. So instead of a 7-iron, for example, we're going to need to go down to a 6 because the ball is going to go much higher, not as far. So if you're going over a tree, this would be the situation that you could do that. The other thing is setting up with the upper body tilted a little bit to the right so it's perpendicular to the slope. Okay, this next situation is a downslope, and the first thing I'm going to try to talk Jeff into doing is using a more lofted club. So I'm going to switch to an 8-iron because this lie will affect loft. It will also affect distance. So depending on the situation, the ball may travel a little bit further, but it's going to be on a lower trajectory. The setup again is ball position slightly closer to the highest foot. So it'll be back in his stance, and then he's going to tilt his upper body slightly forward so his swing can match the slope, or it can go parallel to the slope. The last thing you want to try to do is swing up on a downslope. This next situation is a bit challenging. The ball is severely below Jeff's feet, and on the setup what we're going to try to do is move a little bit closer to the ball and keep the weight slightly in the heels. He's going to take a few practice swings and get a feel for where the club bottoms out and really focus on balance. You don't want to overswing in this situation. Take one more club and swing within yourself. A couple of rehearsal swings, get a feel for where the club bottoms out. Then when he sets up to the ball, again he's going to have his weight slightly in his heels. Jeff's going to make sure that he has enough forward bend in his upper body so he can stay down on it. And a nice balanced finish. Okay, our next situation is with the ball above the feet. And what Jeff's going to need to do here is to allow for the ball to curve the direction of the slope. So he's going to aim just a touch to the right, particularly with a more lofted club like a wedge or 9 or 8-iron. Not so much with a wood. So he'll stand a little bit more upright, not as much forward bend here. And then he's going to grip down on the club an inch or two just to shorten it, get a couple of practice swings in to get a feel for where the club bottoms out. And again, maintain a solid balanced finish.
Okay, in this case, hole number 12, we've sliced our ball off the tee and we've found ourselves in a fairway bunker here. This is a shot that gives a lot of amateurs trouble. So we're going to help you out here with this a little bit today. One of the main things about hitting a shot out of a fairway bunker is we've got to really maintain a firm, solid base in our lower body. Okay, we want to avoid excess movement right and left with this shot, because one of our most important things is going to be where the club bottoms out. Okay, we're going to have this club bottom out right on the back of that ball. Ball first, sand second is very crucial out of a fairway bunker. That's going to be the opposite as we get down into a greenside bunker, but here out of the fairway we want to make sure that we're catching that ball first, taking the sand second. We want to keep our divot fairly shallow. So Mike's going to go ahead and take a few practice swings here. And he's going to make sure he doesn't ground his club, which would be a penalty if he was to do that. So what he's doing is he's feeling a nice shallow entry into the ball where he's going to go ahead and he's just going to strike the ball first, turf second. He's going to dig his feet in a little bit, okay, just to ensure that he's got a good firm base in there. He's going to go ahead and choke down on the club maybe an inch, okay, to make up for the fact that he's a little bit lower. And then from there, he's going to go ahead and just really try to take a nice shallow divot out of there, but go ahead and hit the ball first, the turf second. So now we found ourselves in a greenside bunker. This is going to be a little bit different than the way we execute the fairway bunker. You will find, though, if you can add some of these fundamentals that we're going to teach you here, it really isn't as difficult as it looks. One thing we want to make sure out of a greenside bunker is we want to make sure that we're going to go ahead and open our club face. So as you can see, Jeff's opening his club face to the target line there. Okay, what that's going to allow us to do is that's going to allow us to use the bounce on the club. Okay, the bounce on the club is what keeps the club from digging, and it keeps the club moving through that sand so that we can get the ball out. One of the things we want to make sure that we do when we open our club face is we want to make sure that we open the club face first and then take our normal grip. Second thing Jeff's going to do to go ahead and compensate for the fact that his club face is open is he's going to go ahead and open up his stance. Okay? So now he's got his stance open, he's got his club face open, and then from there what he's going to try to do is he's going to go ahead and try to take the club back on a steeper plane than normal. Okay? By doing that, that's going to allow him to go ahead and hit behind the ball and allow the sand to lift the ball out of the trap we've got here. Okay? Second thing is he's going to want to really make sure that he accelerates his club out of here. Okay? It takes a little bit more effort than it normally would for a regular shot. So you've got to really make sure that you accelerate the club out of here. So Jeff's got his stance open, he's got his club face open, he's going to pick out a spot 1 or 2 inches behind the ball, and he's going to go ahead and let this thing fly. So now we've got the basic chip shot, okay? And I'm going to use Jeff to help us execute this. What we're going to do here is we're going to make sure a couple things different in our setup. We're going to go ahead and we're going to set our weight on our front foot, our foot closest to the target. Okay, we're going to make sure that it stays there throughout this entire shot. We don't want to be rocking back and forth from our right to our left side. Okay, we want to make sure that weight stays nice and firm and on that left side. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lean my hand slightly forward. Okay, what that's going to help us do is that's going to help us de-loft the club slightly, and it's going to help us make sure that the shot rolls out. Okay. Last thing is we're going to make sure the ball's slightly back in our stance towards our right foot for the right-handed golfer. Okay. From there we're going to make a stroke where we want to make sure we keep our wrists out of it. Okay. Very similar to a putting stroke, only we're slightly descending into the ball. By setting our weight on our left foot, that's going to allow us to go ahead and descend to the ball slightly anyway. So from there what Jeff's doing is Jeff's really visualizing where he wants this ball to land. So what you'd want to do is you'd want to pick out an area. For Jeff, he's probably picking out an exact spot, but I'm going to tell most amateurs, let's try to pick out an area that we want to try to land the ball. And what I tell them to do is I tell them to imagine an imaginary hula hoop. Okay? So just a little 3-foot circle in the area that you want to land this ball. And it's usually about 2 to 3 feet on the green. From there, he's going to go ahead and choose his club based on where this ball is going to land and how much pin he's got in between him and the front of the green. So Jeff's got his weight on his left side, he's got his hands forward, he's got the ball slightly back in his stance, he's going to make a stroke very similar to a putt, he's going to go ahead and go with it.
Here we are on the 12th green. We've got about a 5-footer to save par. So Mike is going to demonstrate on how we're going to make this putt. What Mike is doing right now is Mike is lining up his putt. Basically this putt is breaking right to left. And Mike is going to step up. He's going to take a couple practice strokes. He's going to get his alignment. He's going to pick a spot in between the hole and his ball. Line his putter up to that spot. And we're going to treat it like a straight-in putt. So when you're going to make this putt, we're going to stroke toward your spot, not toward the hole. Don't try to help the ball into the hole. Mike? Okay. On behalf of the professional staff here at Fred Arbanas Golf Course, thank you for joining us today. I hope these tips help you on your rounds of golf.
Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit makeyourdayhere.com to book your tee times.